All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the American Mindgrind. My name's Jeff, and this is Jessica. We are back on the air. It's been a while.
About 3 years.
About 3 years since we recorded.
It's a good hiatus.
How have you been? Anything new and exciting going on in the last 3 years?
A whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah?
But
Well,
yeah, that's for another.
Save that for later.
For another show.
Lots been going on here too, but we'll probably we'll do a fun show for everybody. The reason that we got together today is Jessica and I were looking on Facebook and looking at just all of the posts that are going on. A lot of hateful posts, a lot of sad posts of people trying to figure out what's going on with all of the shootings. And you said that people were blaming all kinds of different things, and that we should get on and talk about really drill down on what's going on, because people always want to answer. They're always looking for an answer because it makes them feel good. Why? If a couple breaks up, they want to know what's the why. It can't ever just be because of this or because of that. And so we want to get down on the mind grind. For those of you who have seen our show, then you know that we like to drill down to the very nuts and bolts of issues. Those that are new to the show, now you know. So what are some of the things that you saw that they're blaming the shootings on?
So the first one I saw was guns, or gun control, or lack thereof.
Yeah, that's kind of the big one, right? Everyone thinks take away the guns and then there's going to be no more dead people, right?
Which is, I think, absolutely ridiculous. I grew up around guns, and I know you did. I've always, I've always been around guns, and I feel like it's there to protect. I see it as a protection standpoint of view, and
Yeah, you never see statistics that say how many lives were saved today by guns. Guns save a lot of lives.
Oh, for sure.
And I just hate, a lot of my friends think that, we got to get rid of guns. And I said, that's the easy way out of this conversation. That's your feel good. It's taking away guns so I can feel like I contributed and we did something. But you're a smart girl. If you and I were looking at other ways of killing people, say we couldn't get a gun, say we wanted to do a mass murder or kill a bunch of people, and we couldn't get guns, we tried and we couldn't. Do you think we'd just throw our hands in the air and say, oh, there goes that idea?
No more gun kill. No, of course
Can't kill anyone, we don't have a gun. So what are some of the things that you could think of maybe that people could kill outside of using a gun?
So we've seen plenty of people getting killed by knives, bombs, that's a huge one. Cars even. We had one a couple years ago on the Las Vegas Strip. People running people over with a car.
Yeah, if a bunch of people were all together and you just come as fast as you can with a car, a big SUV or something that nobody sees coming, there's going to be a lot dead. Like, even if I saw it coming and you're next to me here, I can't get away. If there's somebody here, I'm going to get hit probably, most likely. Knives, the MS-13 gang, they stab people so that they suffer more. Like, they don't even use guns because they want to go to the next level.
There's even, if people are getting, guns for hunting, they even use bow and arrows for hunting, or, other stuff like that. But you see terrorist attacks where people use an airplane to fly into a building. Poison, there's arsenic, anthrax, all of that.
Yeah, look what's going on in the Dominican Republic. They think that they're poisoning the people through alcohol. So, yeah, I didn't even think about poisoning. You could go to a bar. How many people are at Blue Martini on Thursday night? 300, 400 or 500 people. You could poison all their drinks like they do roofies, and then there'd be dead people everywhere. No guns.
Yep, it's crazy. And then, of course, once we take away all the guns, we'll go to, let's say, a country that doesn't have legal guns. People still get illegal guns. They can buy them on the internet, or they're accessible, through the black market, or, through gangs or anything like that. So I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is, bad guys are always going to be able to get guns no matter what. They're always going to be accessible, whether we make a law to make them illegal or not. I think it just is, the problem is making it more of a process to get them. But then again, bad guys are always going to get them.
Yeah, you're right. It will just make the gang stronger and more powerful. Anytime you make something illegal, it becomes a commodity. And if they're able to sell guns illegally, then everybody's going to go to them to get the guns. And of course, when the bad guys have money, the drugs become more relevant, and it's just a vicious circle that never ends. and it's easy to get. You can. They've made cocaine illegal. I can get cocaine here in 20 minutes. You can get cocaine in jail. So the government has proven to us that they don't do a very good job of enforcing the laws that they do put out there, and they've proven to us that people don't just say, oh, it's illegal, I can't do it. The good guys do. People like you and me would give up our guns. I saw something on Facebook I really liked that said, I carry to protect myself from those who want to impose their will on me, not because I'm out trying to impose my will on anybody else. And that's so true. I carry a gun. We had talked about it. To most places, when I'm going somewhere now like Walmart or a social gathering where they're not checking guns at the front, I always have my gun. Not in case I get in a fight with somebody, I'm going to shoot them. In case one of these guys go crazy and start shooting, like the guy, when he walked into Walmart, he had like headphones on and he had his gun out like this, and he was walking around like a video game. And if 6 guys were standing there that were all carrying, and they pulled and emptied their rounds on this guy,
we wouldn't have that. Yeah.
They would save lives. It would save a lot of lives, and I think that society needs to start carrying more guns. Go get your concealed weapons permit. Go take some classes on how to use it properly, and be somebody that's out there to protect you, yourself, your family, your community. I think we need to all do that together. So they said that guy, the Walmart shooter guy, was in there. He played video games like Call of Duty, where you just walk around just like shooting people left and right. They say he played for hours and hours and hours. And he's the guy, right, that was targeting the Latino community. They thought that he was racist.
Right, so that brings another point is, was this done upon racism? I see a lot of that on the internet. Oh, these people are racist. Now, for that particular shooter, he might have been. I personally don't know, but if he's targeting, Hispanics or Latinos, and he's going to Walmart, there's not going to just be Hispanics or Latinos in that Walmart. And I don't think all of them that were pronounced dead were all of that race. I think that's terrible, and I think it's a problem, especially with our country and with, media and the news and everything. They always try and slam each other on race and everything like that, but I honestly don't think that's the hot commodity of why there's mass shootings.
Right, it's like one guy doesn't like Latinos, and so all of a sudden, it's because of racism. Like the shooter, we don't like to say their names, I almost said his name, the Las Vegas shooter, he wasn't racist. He went and just shot a whole bunch of people at a festival of all different kind of races, and if it was racism, you could go to any place where the race that you don't like congregates on any given day, and you would target them. So in the story of being 21 dead, if it was 21 Latinos dead, then and so just because he was racist, I don't think made him do this crime, which, like you said, racism has no place in this country. You're right, the media keeps it alive, politicians keep it alive, and that's what they want to blame. They said that he had racist terms that the president said about the invasion of the border or something like that. Mm-hmm. And that's why they say it's racism.
Yeah, so that's another thing. So they want to point the finger. If it's racism, well, that makes it a political thing now. With the whole President Trump and the invasion at the border, stuff like that. But of course, then we had another shooter just hours later that wasn't racist that we know of, and didn't target a certain race or anything like that. But this is all a huge political thing. And, we have a few stats on the presidents that have been in office and how many mass shootings there were.
Yeah, so if you look back in the day, I would say we had guns and we didn't have this issue. This issue is here today. And so blaming guns is like, well, if we just now invented guns and all of a sudden there's shootings, maybe I would say, yeah, maybe it's the guns. But under Reagan, we had 3 shootings. And I grew up under President Reagan, and we grew up, like you said, with guns, and we had guns in my house. In my room, I had a big gun rack, and it had everything from some collectible bayonets my grandfather owned to shotguns, all different kind of shotguns, and in the bottom drawer were handguns and ammo for days. And never once did we think about doing a mass shooting or anything crazy like that. So under Reagan there was 3, and then all of a sudden under Bush there was 4, And then Clinton jumped up to 8. There were 8 under Clinton and then 8 under Bush Jr. So now we're starting to see, as time goes by, things are changing. We're starting to see a higher number of shootings. Well, if we're going to blame presidents, Obama had 24. So you add up all the mass shootings, they don't even equal as much as Obama had. I'm not here to blame Obama for mass shootings. For the same reason, I think it's just silly to blame Trump for mass shootings. He says one thing, like there's an invasion of the border. We're getting invaded of the border. And we can talk about that on another show. Is that correct or incorrect? What's he supposed to say? Let those nice people through. There's consequences to that. And I think part of the post that I put that made everyone get so mad is soft parenting. We can't be soft in politics, and we can't. And soft parenting, I think, has led to a lot of this. But if you're blaming presidents, Obama's the winner, right?
Yeah.
So
Mass shootings.
I just think, I don't know. I think parents just need to raise their kids. Like when I was a kid under Reagan, when we only had 3 mass shootings, what was different then from now today? And the first thing that comes to my mind is most of my friends, we all had a mom and a dad, that were both relevant in our lives. And I think that we've lost the family values and the idea of a mom and a dad raising a kid together.
Well, yeah. I say yes, and I also, say no as well, because I know a lot of single parents that have done really well for their children and everything like that. So, could be mom or dad, But of course, if you have values from both a man and a woman, it could be different. Or nowadays, obviously very acceptable, like woman and woman, 2 moms or 2 dads. It just depends on, because both people might have different views on things, and they're 2 different styles of parenting. And maybe if you're getting parented by one value, it might be a little different, or there might be a little more pushback. But yeah, I do agree. There's way too much soft parenting going on, and and that it could be, yes, but there's so many other factors in the parenting today that you spank your kid. I was spanked as a kid, not very often, but it definitely made me think of doing something twice and getting in trouble for it. So I think that's the other thing. If you spank your kid now, it's child abuse.
Right.
And there is many people that do abuse their child, and maybe that's another thing that's hurting children as well.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, by no means are we saying that a single parent is not able to produce a quality child and put him out into society. What I'm saying is that the combination of a mother and a father made it a lot easier, and back then it seemed to work. And I blame mostly the dads who go get a woman pregnant and they don't like the consequences of their drunken night or whatever, or if they're even dating the girl and all of a sudden she's pregnant and they skate, they're gone.
Yeah.
And they're just chickens, and then here's a mom that has to raise 1, 2, 3 kids by herself. Of course she's not going to have the time to put in the time with this child that this child needs in their crucial developmental stages of their life. We're missing that. Instead, they're getting raised by the cell phone or the video games. We had good food back then. They didn't put the crap in our food. They didn't load it with sugar and hormones and steroids. Antibiotics. And
the food is so terrible these days.
It's horrible. It's poison, and they feed it out of convenience to the kids, thinking there's no consequences. The sugar that these kids are addicted to blocks signals to the brain, and we went out and exercised. We went and played baseball all day. Our parents had to call us in for dinner time, and we come in at dinner time, and we all sat at a table, and we talked about the day, like, how was your day? What did you do at school? What did you learn today? And if there was an issue or something that we had going on at school, if one of my brother was getting bullied or my sister, we all knew about it now, and we addressed it together as a family. I think we've lost that.
100%. Now everyone's sitting on their cell phones, and I was just mentioning, like, when kids go out to recess these days, what do? Are they on their phones, or are phones allowed? Like, I'm not sure. I didn't get a cell phone until I was 16 years old, and I still feel like that was young for my generation. And I was lucky to have a cell phone that had Snake on it, and only text features, and you had to press 3 buttons to get to the C, stuff like that. So now everything's so readily available at your fingertips, and social media and everything else like that. So, that's another value I feel that's been kind of thrown out the door, where,
Social time.
Family
time.
socially, yeah.
Went to church on Sunday. And, I'm not a big church guy. I told you before, I'm not a huge, God's going to take care of everything. I'm not that type of guy. I don't go to church anymore. But I'm glad I grew up Mormon. I grew up with church. I grew up with valuing life. And I was taught choice and consequences. You want to live a good life because if you don't, you're going to go to hell. And so we were always taught to do the right thing. So church had a lot of value. And now I don't think very many kids go to church anymore. And, our video games, we played video games, but my parents set a timer, and after an hour or two, we were not able to play video games. We had to go outside, and some of the video games we were talking about earlier, like Mario Brothers, like Tippin' Turtles, and...
Yeah, Galaga.
Yeah.
These are violent, those were, violent for then, like Galaga, you're blasting stuff, but it's so innocent compared to what you see. The graphics on games these days are so realistic, and now they have virtual reality games and everything like that. And I think, technology is amazing. It's great for medical advances. It's great for so many other things. But as far as shooting games and violence and stuff like that, it's become this alternate reality that people live in. And now, it's affecting their social life.
And if you do that all day, every day, your subconscious mind is going to think that that's what you're trying to do. Like when people dream at night, it's a survival instinct of what's been going on in our subconscious mind and how do we protect ourselves going forward from the bad things that happen throughout the day. And so if you're just nonstop killing, you're going to want to kill. You add all the other things we're talking about into the equation.
Addictive.
I mean, the movies that they watch, same thing, killing. Like, I love Hollywood is like, we got to get rid of guns, and then 90% of the movies that these people are in, they're shooting it up.
Yeah.
It's like, well, are you for or against guns? Because in your movies, I see you shooting everything up.
Yeah.
So it's pretty hypocritical there as well. I watched Revenge of the Nerds when I was a kid, and I got in big trouble for it. And my dad sat me down when he found out that I had watched Revenge of the Nerds, and he said, "What'd you think about that movie?" And I was very uncomfortable telling my father. I was watching it with some buddies, and he goes, "Do you think it was funny?" I said, "There were some parts that were funny." And he goes, "Do you think it's funny to spy on girls when they're taking a shower?" I'm like, well, not now that you and I are having a talk about it, I don't. But when I was watching my buddies, he thought it was pretty funny. Yeah. But he spent the time with me to develop my mind and to teach me about good and bad and right and wrong and how to control my emotions and be stronger than that, And it was always a talk with my parents about stuff, and uncomfortable talks. Yeah. And then I would share that with my friends. My friends adopted, the next time I was with my friends, I said, "Guys, we probably shouldn't do this, or let's stop picking on Bobby, leave him alone. Come on, Bobby, come with us. We're going to go play baseball. You can be on my team." And now I read the other day that the millennials say that 20% of the millennials don't even have friends. Like not even a friend, like a best friend. Like they just don't have friends. And that's just crazy to me.
Absolutely insane. I think maybe it's even higher than that because today's society, especially the millennial generation, they replace, you can have 5,000 friends on Facebook, okay, but how many of those people are your true friends? Like maybe a handful of people that you actually know and can trust and actually have a background with them and a conversation with them face to face. So how many of these people are going for that instant gratification too of social media, and they're replacing friends, or they say they have friends, but it's not really, it's not social.
You're right. So
interaction.
20% of them would admit that. So there's probably more that probably are like, I'm not going to admit that, but I really don't have friends. And I think that a lot of them don't have friends because they're missing out on, like I said, the developmental stage. And I think that other kids stay away from them, or they bully them because they're a little socially awkward or mentally ill. Mm-hmm. And mental illness is, it's another one.
Huge in this country, and a lot of people don't want to talk about it because it's a very uncomfortable subject to talk about. And whether it be from hereditary, mental illness, or from all of this stuff that we just mentioned, either, the foods that you're eating or the social awkwardness or being bullied, stuff like that. It's that lack of communication, I think, from a very small age. You see toddlers with iPads now instead of, little mobiles, or, just things that they can touch and hold and,
instant
blamed
satisfaction,
Yeah.
gratification, that quick.
Yeah, now toddlers can use a phone like I use a phone. You know, it's insane. Or, you know, they're technically advanced and they're not talking to people face to face anymore.
So earlier I said one of the things that we grew up with, good food. You know, there's sugar in everything now, and sugar kind of seems to be the thing that you give your kids as a treat or a reward or something. And so many people are addicted to sugar, even adults. They're just wake up looking for that next sugar. It's more addicting than cocaine. Like, tell people that eat a lot of sugar, hey, just quit. They can't just quit. They're addicted. They need it, and they associate it with happy things. And people understand that sugar blocks communication in your brain. It gives you a mental illness. It starts making you crazy a little bit. And then so when you have a young kid that's running around on sugar all the time, and then all of a sudden you don't know what to do, you can't control them anymore, and you take them to a doctor who does what?
Medicates them.
Puts them on meds. And what do most of the shooters that go around, what do they really have in common? Like maybe some of them they like to see video games, or some of them are racist, or some of them heard the president say something. What do 90% of them have in common? They're all on a behavioral medicine. Mm-hmm. And what does it say on what are the warnings on the side?
They're, you know, this may cause depression, or if you have suicidal thoughts, or, you know, the list goes on and on and on. They'll tell you more of the side effects in a commercial than the actual thing that helps people. And I think that's,
They're playing like happy music, and they're like laughing, and then it's saying in the background, if you listen, it says, this may make you want to do harm to yourself or harm to others and make you depressed. I'm like, well, would I really give a child that? Would I really say, hey, here, little Johnny, just take this? And then little Johnny takes it, and he's like a zombie, walking around like a zombie. And they asked all the kids that quit doing the medicines, like, how come you won't take your meds? And he says, because it makes me feel crazy. That's what they all say. And so some of them, we researched a lot of the shootings and a lot of suicides. You had brought up suicides as another one that happened. And the people that are on these meds are on Zoloft, Prozac, Ritalin was like on almost every one of them, right? Ritalin, Paxil, and Xanax, and Adderall. You had mentioned Adderall. It never ends. There's this long list of companies that are sending out these drugs. And then these people feel crazy and they want to do harm to each other, and it has to be at least brought to the table.
Yeah, and a lot of it too is antidepressant medication. Like, we never had that 30, 40 years ago.
Zero of my friends were on any medications.
Yeah, and it's just, I think it's so, like, not spoke about. It's so, like, under the rug. People push that stuff under the rug. You know, you mentioned people like Chris Cornell, or people that multi-millionaire, celebrity, whatever, musicians that kill themselves, and they're on medication, and I don't understand why. You know, why are they on this medication in the first place, and why are they taking it? If my antidepressant makes me want to kill myself. That's one of the actual biggest side effects. So yeah, I think, coming back to everything, you know, a lot of these kids, especially in the mass shootings, we looked up a ton of kids, like 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, on these medications. They have mental illness, you know, and a lot of it was, you know, lack of friendship and because of social media.
And they're being bullied there, right? They're being bullied on social media, and there needs to be an outlet for them. In closing, I guess, we had talked earlier, so what's the solution? Like, we like to have a solution to the problem, more of saying, kind of, instead of what it is, like, we agree you can't just take away the guns or blame somebody else for it, or have a president that talks nice, or I don't think that's going to stop. These people kill because they want to kill. They kill because they have a mental problem and they need help, and there's no help. And like you said earlier, a lot of these parents let the kid go in and shut the door at the end of the day, and it's a dark room, and play video games. They don't even know the kid might have been getting bullied at school. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, I've had friends that said, okay, well, we go to the school and we tell them, hey, this guy's bullying my kid. Nothing ever happens. So there has to be, I think, first off, we need to bring state hospitals back. And there need to be nonprofit organizations that get together and raise money to provide a safe place that these kids can go, maybe stay anonymous if they need to, and get help, and say, hey, you know, my kid's missing out. There's a grandma, I think it was in Florida, that said, hey, something's wrong. the kid just doesn't seem right. Maybe somebody should take a look. They took a look and they went in his computer and everything. He was planning a mass shooting. They've got him in custody now. So because they say something, do something, but then it's like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
And we don't want to infringe on our rights. If I said, hey, she's crazy, she's gonna kill somebody, or the cop's gonna come and raid her house and take her computer. So we just need to get there step by step. But I think, man, I just can't help but to think, like I posted on Facebook, that it's parenting. And a lot of parents out there, they don't know good parenting because they didn't see it. One of the people told me, oh, Jeff, you're not a parent. How do you know? Well, I know good parenting because I saw good parenting. My whole community was good parenting. And I saw the result. We're all grown up now, and everyone's doing pretty good that grew up with me. And I know how I live my life. I know how I run businesses. I know how I run with my friends, my group of friends that I see every day. I manage my emotions. And I know that if I raise a child, I know exactly how I'd manage that child. Like I coach my Little League baseball team, and I don't let my emotions get in the way of making the best decision for the team and for the kid's future, what I'm trying to teach them about life, even though it might hurt my feelings sometimes. So I know that I would do the things, or at least try to do the things that we talked about.
Do you give everyone a participation award?
No, that's part of being soft. That's soft parenting. And that's how I want to. That's how I want to wrap this up. Is part of the problem is that we love our kids so much. We want to give them a participation trophy. We're teaching them that as long as you tried hard, that's all that matters. And unfortunately, that's not the way it is in life. If you want something, you got to go get it. And losing sometimes is okay. Mm-hmm. And I got to teach you how to be a good winner, and I got to teach you how to be a good loser, and how to accept both, and always be somewhere in the middle.
That is life.
I used to have I'll end it on the last story. My grandma used to make me read Humble Pie. We'd win the state championship or something, and maybe I was the hero of the game, and I was on the front cover of the paper. My grandma said, Jeff, before you go to school today, you eat humble pie. You give the credit to everyone else, the coaches, the fans, the other teammates. Just because you made the big play, don't take this on yourself. And I was always taught that way. My grandpa, my grandparents, my family were all nice people that taught me to take care of each other. I was a tough kid in school. I boxed, I wrestled, I was taught to defend myself. If you bullied me, you were getting punched in the mouth. And I'm not suggesting that that's the answer to all of this.
Anti-violence.
Anti-violence is right. But I made sure to take care of the other kids that weren't strong enough to fight their way out of situations. And, we took care of bullying pretty quick when we were kids. Sometimes it's funny, we laugh or whatever, but if I saw that somebody's feelings were really hurt, I stepped in. And again, society needs to step in. We can't rely on other people to just take care of us anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we need something to, vet people buying guns online. I think that's a huge step. I think we need to, do away with the, giving kids medications for something that we don't even know if they have because they might be socially awkward or something.
Right. Try diet first. Yeah. Try exercise first.
Try putting them in a social group.
Yeah.
Try putting them in a sport.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then last but not least, I think obviously the government has to do something. We need to have some sort of safe place. And yeah, they have, this is a safe zone, this is that. But really, what is it? Is it people seeing something and saying something like, you know what, I'm a bad parent, but my kid sits at home all day and plays video games and he doesn't have any friends come over. He's never, on, the phone or anything like that with other kids. Maybe they were a bad parent and now they have to take action into saying, hey, it's my fault. Or, maybe they were a great parent and now their kid's getting bullied, or maybe they're amazing parents together in a dual household family and they still have a kid that's unruly. Who knows? Maybe it just needs to be something where there needs to be some sort of help and initiative going into.
They need help. These kids need help, and the parents need help. A lot of the parents, like you're saying, they don't know. They just need help, and maybe the nonprofits and state-funded programs can help. So, we'll wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Join us next week when we talk about if they should raise minimum wage or not.